What's up, good people? It's your boy, bro Troy, aka Mr. YM4C, aka Coach TJ. And tonight is the second night of our two-part series. We'll be discussing everything relationships, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, our guest tonight will touch on monogamy, marriage, single life, sex life, and everything in between. Now, tonight's show is sponsored by The Barbershop. Now, shout out to Reggie Winston. That's the owner of the barbershop, located at 4551 New Bern Avenue, Suite 180, Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, check out the barbershop for all of your premier grooming services. And don't forget to ask them about their monthly memberships to save you time and money. Now, fellas, I'm really excited for the upcoming collaboration with YM4C Mentorship Program in the barbershop. On Saturday, March 27th, part one of the Fine Dining Etiquette Workshop will be at the barbershop, where we'll introduce table manners and common courtesies when dining in a group setting or when on a date through interactive role-playing exercises. Each young man will receive a complimentary grooming service, including a haircut and a manicure. Each young man will also be presented with a new suit, complete with shirt, tie, and a pair of socks. Now, the following Tuesday, which is March the 30th, the young men will be suited and booted and we'll be chauffeured to Second Empire Tavern in downtown Raleigh. There, we will share thought-driven, facilitated conversation with leaders in education, business, and politics over a 3-course meal. The goal is to mature social development skills, increase confidence in learning new things, and to promote a growth mindset. Now, for those who have never had a Bro Code Show experience, the Bro Code Show is a live talk show created to discuss, uncover, justify, and dismantle the issues that concern us most as brothers, as family, and as a community. And we like to give that to you raw, uncut, and real respectful. Now, our greatest desire is to embrace everyone in positive, popular conversation. So no, we're not in the business of bashing or belittling anybody, but we do believe in being comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations, because we believe that's where understanding starts. So as grandma would say, let's chew the meat and spit out the bone. Real housekeeping things real quick, man. For those that are listening in Facebook world, we love you. We appreciate you. Hit that share and like button right now. For those that are on YouTube, hey, you're dope. If you haven't, go to YM4C TV, click on the notification button so that way when we go live, you'll know it. All your comments, leave them in the comment section throughout the show. Pull you up, shout you out, man. Let you know that we're listening and we love y'all. So, Bro Smith, we're waiting on our late brother here, but I'm just curious, man. How was your week, bro?
That was good. It was good. The elements tried to ruin my Valentine's Day last week, but whether it be snow, ice, or rain, it worked itself out. But other than that, man, I feel blessed, man. I work with a lot of folks who are out in Texas who had power outages and have been boiling their water, out of power all week. So the fact that I had my lights and my sustenance and my heat, I feel blessed just to have been able to get through. So all in all, man, it's been a good day and a good week.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. We look at things in twofold, man. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in the world that we wish could change, man. But we have a milestone, bro, that happened today. And that milestone is my grandfather. He turned 101, bro. So I got to give big shouts to the mayor out in Stone Mountain, Georgia. We call him the mayor because he runs everything. Now, he calls me boy, which rhymes with Troy. But at 101, he can call me whatever you want to call me. So shouts out to John Chance out in Stone Mountain, Georgia. My grandfather, man, the man that taught me about room presence, how to tie a tie, the importance of fine linens, how to hang your suit up and put your pants the right way. 12, it didn't mean much, Jay, but, these are the same tools and nuggets that we're dropping on kids today through our purpose, man. So much love to you, Pops. We appreciate you. Now, real quick, fellas, JC, this month is all about relationships. Mm-hmm. As we're waiting on Bro Smith, we all, there he is. I think he's ready. I don't know if he's ready. Let me see if he made a grand entrance. Can you hear me? Sprint, can you hear me now? You're still on mute. You're the first mute monster today?
He's trying. Hey, technology, man. You know how technology do you sometimes.
Hey, man, I could dig it, brother. Better late than never, man. How's your week, bro? How you feeling?
Hey, man, it's been a very eventful week. Today was a rest day, so I just say that. But I'm glad to be here.
Hey, we need that rest, man. He said he'll make it fly down in green pastures. You know, bro, Kurt, man, we was talking about relationships, right? And, you know, we all know these things called memes. And I saw one earlier today, and I'm going to bring it up. I want to get y'all thoughts. It says the most important part of any relationship is the first open fart. Now, I'm just curious, man. Is there a time limit? You know, I want to hear y'all thoughts. Is that just totally off the radar? That's too disgusting. Is there a time limit on that? I want to hear your thoughts, man. What you think, Bro Smith?
Oh, you gonna go to me first? I want to see what he has to say.
You don't want to report to that? We're gonna make the late. You want to make the late dude go first?
No, I'm not. I've seen it last as long as a month. I've seen it last as long as years. But it's funny no matter when it first comes through. You know, for me, you might just catch me. I'm sorry. You know, it's just a matter of whether I think you heard, whether I say my apologies, excuse me. But it takes some time in different relationships.
You must be the SBD guy, right? You just kind of walk right into it. What about you, Kurt? Too much too soon? What do you think?
No, it's not as too soon, but there's just one requirement. Just give me a heads up. Right?
Okay.
Let me know it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, I'm good.
I could dig that. So obviously, you know, last week we started the conversation with relationships, and you know, we definitely had some fun with it, man. We went international last week, y'all. Like, we had May Cohen from New Zealand. Like, she came through dropping all type of gems, and we got some really dope guests tonight too. So let me get this name right, because, you know, it's always ladies first. We've got Lacear. Now, if I said it wrong, she's going to correct me. I know she will, but we've got Lacear Duff. And Lacear helps women break free of unhealthy relationships, recognize their worth, and thrive in all things relationship driven. Now, whether it's from the boardroom or to the bedroom, Lacear can help. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present to some and introduce to others, Lacear Duff. How you doing, Lacear?
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
I can. We can hear you well, man. How you feeling today?
I am good, and I appreciate you for getting my name right. That was perfect.
I did get it right. I got 2 claps for Bro Troy. I appreciate that. So, for the people listening, Lacear, you know, who is Lacear Duff at the core? Lacear
Duff at the core. So Lacear is a soft-spoken but firm servant leader, I guess I could say. And she's a sucker for love. Like, once I seen the need of like women hurting in relationships, like, I just became a sucker for it. So I'm a sucker for love, but yeah, servant leader and a communicator. Like, I was created to communicate. So that's a little bit of Lacear.
Well, as we heard last week, love and communication go hand in hand. So you're definitely in the right place. Glad to have you. So we also have Jenard Moore. Now, Jenard is the host of the More Love Connection podcast, which is the podcast geared towards millennial marriage and relationships. He's been married for 5 years to his lovely wife, Destiny, and they have a 1-year-old daughter. Jenard is also in the process of obtaining his PhD, learn brother, yes sir, in organizational leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me introduce or bring to the show Jenard Moore. Jenard, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, appreciate y'all, Bro Code Show. Appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it's always good to have you, brother. Tell the people a little bit about your background, man. Jenard, what makes you you?
What makes me me is, like Lacear said, she was born to communicate. I believe the same thing. I am a talker. I can talk to anybody about anything. I love people. I'm absolutely a people person. So that's what makes me unique.
Yes, indeed. Grandma said you never met a stranger. I can dig that.
No, sir.
Absolutely. Well, good stuff, man. We appreciate y'all joining us tonight. Bro Smith, let's chew the meat and spit out the bone.
Yes, sir. So, as you said, last week we got to chop it up with some amazing guests. Got to go international. It was an International Day of Love, and we certainly want to continue that trend. There were a couple of things that I for one took with me from last week, And if you didn't get a chance to hear it, you might have to press that replay button. But from our international guest, Meg Cohen, she taught me a number of things. I learned about the orgasm gap, for one. And I learned all about how pleasure is the measure. And it is okay for a woman's pleasure to come first. So the rest of it, you have to watch. You got to watch for yourself as far as learning those little nuggets. But I certainly took notes. We also had a gentleman, Keith Dent, who he spoke on the value of communication and being to speak not just in each other's language, but using sports language, meaning he used basketball as a metaphor, given that it's a team game, but individuals are highlighted to illustrate that how each person should, in a relationship, can be an all-star, but you have to work together to win. And so I'm real excited to learn even more nuggets on relationships, making them thrive and growing in love with each other. And this week we get to break bread with two more powerhouses. And so we've got a number of questions. We're going to chew the fat on a number of different topics, but I'm going to start first with Lacear. Can you tell us what life experiences started you on this journey of empowering women and promoting women to seek healthy relationships?
Yeah, so it was really the bad relationships that I had before I got married, honestly, that drove me to wanting to help other women, because I know what it feels like to be connected to the wrong person. And I know what can happen when you're connected to the wrong person. So not feeling worthy, not feeling like, you're worth being loved properly, asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Low self-esteem, like all of these things come from not being loved properly. And so I know what that feels like. I've experienced that before. And so to finally get out of that traumatic cycle of bad relationship after bad relationship, and then to see and know what it feels like to, one, love myself and put myself first, two, build my relationship with God, and then three, be connected with someone who loved me properly. I couldn't look back at other women and not try to help, especially knowing what happens when you're connected to the wrong person. So that's what really drove me to be like, we got to do something about this.
Yeah, it really is important to love yourself. And for all those single folks on Valentine's Day, that's whether you're single or not, for that matter, it's important to take time to do just that, to love on yourself. Yeah. Jenard, I'm gonna turn it over to you. You host a podcast called The More Love Connection, which I love to play on words. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and who do you look to for help?
Okay, so yeah, the More Love Connection podcast was a podcast my wife and I started when our first year of marriage. We were like, hey, we're experts at our own experience, even though we were only a year in. So we talked about, like, let's start a podcast to help people who are just now getting married. There's some things that we have gone through in marriage that we possibly could, help somebody else who's just getting married. So the podcast is geared towards just millennial marriage, millennial relationships. We talk about real life stuff that we go through in our marriage. We top 8 mistakes that we've made. We talk about how to overcome arguments. And we just look to, especially me, we look to a lot of the seasoned people who are married in our lives, our parents, members of our church. So just looking at their relationship, kind of picking their brains, like, hey, how did you overcome X, Y, and Z? And like, I call them seasoned people because they're, they've been in the thing. Some people that we talk to are been married for 27 years. They know a thing or two about marriage. They know how hard it is to get over certain humps. So that's the podcast is just geared towards how to become a better person, individual, in marriage and a relationship.
So thank you for that. So I once heard a quote that said, once you learn how to love yourself, your taste in men will change. So as a sounding board for women, Lacear, I would love to hear from you on the experience of just that thing in your personal life.
Yes, Bro Kirk. So the thing is, once a woman realizes and finds herself, there's like a transformation that happens. Because there are things like you can't teach other people how to love you. I say that all the time. You can't teach other people to love you if you don't know how to love yourself. And so when you don't know what you want, you don't know who you are, you don't know. And I can speak for me. At one point, I didn't know who Lacear was. I didn't know what I valued. I didn't know what was important to me and what I needed in a relationship. Like, I didn't know. So I couldn't articulate to a man what I needed. And so in that case, if you don't know it, for yourself before you get into a relationship, then it just translates over into that relationship. And then you end up going with the flow. And how do you know if that's not what you want, if you never sat down and taken the time to really figure that out? And so that's why when that transformation happens and a woman realizes, okay, this is what I want and this is what I need out of a man, once that happens, then yeah, I firmly believe, and I've seen it play out in my life and some of the clients, some of the people that I work with, once they know, it's like, no, I can't go back to that. I had a client tell me just this morning, an old fling hit me up and was like, what's up? Let's get up. And it was like, no, that's not me anymore. That's not what I want. And so I firmly believe your taste in men will change because, you're not going to tolerate what you used to tolerate, especially once you know what you want.
Well said. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the bros all agree with that. So there's a narrative out there, and I'm going to go to you, Jenard, with a new question. There's a narrative out there surrounding men where we have to be tough, macho, brave, have courage, and all of these, emotions in our lives. And it's really, you said earlier, you're a communicator, and the bros are all communicators too, and we're all feelers. But we want to jump in to hear about from you. We want to hear more about vulnerability, and if as men, is that important to practice a new level of vulnerability, especially when it comes to having a healthy relationship?
Absolutely. But first, let me start by saying a lot of men don't know what vulnerability is. From an early age, you think about playing sports, you think about just growing up. Men are taught to be tough. We're taught to suppress our emotions. We're taught to, and just for lack of better words, if a man or a young boy cries, you're a wimp or you're soft. So from an early age, it's instilled in us to suppress how you're feeling. So that mindset says, you know what, I can't talk about how I'm feeling. And then that goes from your childhood to your adulthood. So now you're in a marriage or in a relationship, the female does something to you. You don't know how to articulate it again, because from an early age, you've been told, don't talk about certain things. Don't cry. If you scrape your knee, if you fall down, suck it up, and so we get into these marriages and we get into relationships and we are poor communicators. We don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to express, what we're going through. But for some who do know how to articulate and how to, get their point across, some men are looked at as weak men because I'm being vulnerable. And I have experienced, my vulnerability taken as weakness, when essentially vulnerability is a strength. It takes a strong person to say, hey, I'm hurt. I'm feeling a certain type of way, or hey, you did something that hurt me, and so I did a thing on Clubhouse a week ago, like, does vulnerability make you a weak man? And the general consensus from majority of the women they were taught that if a man showed his emotions, he was being vulnerable, because he was weak. And again, vulnerability takes a lot of strength, especially for men to muster up the courage and say to their wife, to their significant other, like, hey, babe, hey, whatever you call your wife or significant other, like, I'm hurt, So I think there's something that the seasoned men, there's something that we have to instill in our young men, like, hey, it's okay to express your feelings. It's okay to talk about, how something hurt you. It's okay to be vulnerable, because that actually shows your strength. So I think vulnerability is something, is definitely a must.
Absolutely, man.
I think it's needed.
You want to touch on that? There you go. Take it, Lacear. Take it.
Well, I totally agree with Jenard. I think it's needed for a relationship. I know I tell the people that I work with and the ladies that I talk to, tell your man that you need him to talk to you. Communication is needed in any relationship. Without communication, it will fail. And so, telling him, that you need him to tell you, because you're not a mind reader. You don't know if you've hurt his feelings. You don't know, why he may be upset. So if he doesn't tell you, then you don't know. So just asking your man to be open with you, and that it's definitely needed. And I know that's something that I really appreciate in my husband, and I think it makes us stronger when he's able to be open and communicate with me what's going on with him. I can help him more if he lets me know. So that's something I believe too.
Can I add one more thing to that? We on the podcast, we interviewed Beth McCord. She's like the world's leading Enneagram coach. And one of the things that she talked about that often happens in marriage and relationships is a suicide. And basically what a suicide is, and it goes to what Lakeer was just saying, we're not mind readers, but, we may say something to our spouse or significant other, and you expect or you assume them to respond in a certain way. And in essence, they may not even be nowhere near the ballpark of what you are assuming. And so a lot of times your assumptions are never met with the level of expectation that you have. So you're committing a suicide. And it's like, if we just communicate and we just talk,
you be in there, right? Communication. I want you to know, Rod, that if you already don't have that on a T-shirt or a hashtag, you need to make that happen, brother. That was dope. Suicide. Drop hashtag. We're dropping it right there. You heard it right here on the Bro Code. We trademark. So with that being said, and you're checking in with the Bro Code Show. We're talking about all things relationships. We've got Lakeer and Jenard. Both married, both love to speak into women, marriage, and produce healthy relationships. And we've heard a suicide, we've heard love, communication. Bro, Kurt, you said something a week ago. We were talking, man. You was like, we were on doing another show, and you said, I can't chew your food for you. I can't tell you what your food tastes like. You have to tell me. Right. So assumptions, right? Like, how would I know unless you tell me? And, I know we're married and I know there's things that we align on, but I don't know what I don't know. Right. So, I love it, man. So let's holler at some of your fan club here. Now, Lakeer, Evelyn, I'm assuming. Miss Evelyn Mateo?
I feel like I do. I can't see that picture, but I feel like I do.
Well, if you're not, let's say hello. Evelyn says you only hear about the good in marriage. There's thick and thin. I think issues in marriage should be talked about more. Christina, she was just clapping. I guess she was something y'all said. There it is. She was just excited and snapping and all that good stuff. She dancing and all that. Men need to. I'm quite sure Evelyn was talking about that vulnerability. Being a superpower. Kurt, we talk about that every time, and she followed up with men should put away the ego. Vulnerability is sexy. I like that. Go ahead, Evelyn. Vulnerability is sexy. I call it heart to heart. It's needed in relationships. And then Paris chimed in and said, truth. We as women have to communicate better and stop assuming men are mind readers. You get all that to you, Paris. All that to you. So nonetheless, we're going to take a real quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more with Lakeer as well as my main man, Mr. PhD. Right? Learn brothers, man. Learn brothers. We got, man, educated brothers. We got to celebrate that, man.
Yes.
Right here on the Bro Code Show, man. So everything relationship. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for a barbershop that provides luxury grooming services in a safe, clean environment, and that also gives back to the community? Well, look no further. The Barber Shop is the place for you. We're currently looking for new members. We have a location here in Raleigh, and we have a future location coming soon in Wake Forest, North Carolina. If you'd like to be a member or just give us the opportunity to serve you, please visit our website, thebarbershopnc.com. See you soon.
We're back on the Bro Code Show talking with Jenard Moore and Lacear Duff, and we're talking all things relationships. Well, fellas, we've had a good time, man. I appreciate my guest, man. Very lively, man. But we're going to switch gears just for a second. This next question is going to be for everybody. And, I'm sure all of us have heard the saying, if I knew then what I know now, or how about this one? Hindsight is 20/20. So if we could keep that same frame of mind, I want you guys to finish this statement. I wish my parents would have told or taught me ... Now, what comes after the ... That's what I want to hear. I wish my parents would have told or taught me. And if you're listening right now, I want to hear from the crowd too, man. What's something that you wish that your parents would have told or taught you more of, or just period? Now, I got to put my brother JC on the spot. You get to go first.
Yeah. Well, my parents have been married 58 years, right? The anniversary is right after my birthday, so I can't help but think about it. And I couldn't make it 5, in my marriage, and it's one of the things I think one of the individuals commented is just how difficult marriage can be, and working through those bad moments and appreciating the good moments and talking through the issues before they become bigger issues. So that's a conversation that we may have had in passing, but we never really had that sit down moment. I always looked at their relationship as kind of a gold standard. Like, oh, okay, yeah, 25 years, 30, 40, you guys make it look like nothing. But when you're in the thick of it yourself, it's good to have that understanding. So that's the one I would say, is having a conversation before I said I do in regards to just the difficulties of marriage.
Yeah, I could dig that, man. So, Lakeer, what do you think?
I would say I wish my parents would have taught me more about finances. They made sure I had everything I wanted and everything that I needed. But at the same time, that didn't really help me as I got older, because I didn't really know the value of a dollar until I started working. I didn't know behind the scenes that they may have built up a little bit of credit card debt because, they were making sure I had everything that I wanted. It was like, go to school, play sports, get good grades, we'll take care of the rest. But like, not showing me how it works and letting me know that what I'm doing when I'm wilding out in my 19s and 2021 would affect me at the age of 30 when I'm trying to buy a house. Because on credit, I look like I'm still out here wilding out like I'm 19. So I wish they would have just, let me in and on those conversations that were going on behind closed doors. And I know that's something that happens a lot in the Black community. We don't really have conversations about money. So I wish I just would have learned a little bit more about that.
Indeed. I could dig that. Kurt, Leonard, what you think, brother?
Jenard, just FYI. I think you adding the L from Lakeer.
I put an L.
You adding the L from Lakeer. It's all good. I'll say the same thing. Finances. I think my parents did a good job. They taught me what they knew. They did try to instill into me about saving, but I wish they would have taught me about investing, because had I started when I first started working at 16, just putting money away and investing into stocks or, bonds, probably would have been a millionaire by now, but I think finances is definitely huge. And I will say, when my wife and I got married, and to Lakeer's point about credit card debt, when we got married, on my credit card, I was still paying for, dates that I went on in college. And here it is, I'm getting ready to get married. It's like, man, it's so yeah, I think finances would have been my answer.
Good stuff. What you think, Kurt?
So, yeah, definitely finance. But since that's been said, I'm gonna go a different direction. So, I grew up with a single mom, so my father wasn't there. Love him still. Everything's all good, but I don't know because actually I had to figure out that piece of my life by myself. And so I'm thankful that my mom did the best she could with what she knew how to do. So that's why I'm so passionate about the work we all do, because I never forgot how that felt, and that wasn't a great feeling. So.
That's it, man. That feeling of fulfillment and being able to pass that on. Jenard, you said something earlier, and it's a great segue. We plant seeds in young men from the ages of 7 to 17. Obviously, a piece of what we share and wisdom is understanding that the greatest investment is an investment in self. But what you have at a young age that I wish that I would have recognized, then is that I had my greatest asset was time, because of compound interest. And if I would have done those things a little bit earlier, like you just said, Jenard, right, I would have been that much further ahead, and really not being empowered by that to say, hey, man, if I put these things in At 18, the average person doesn't start saving until 25, 26, when they're so-called established in their career. So now I'm 10 years ahead of the curve. So I take that same bit of wisdom and pour that into the kids that we serve today. And it's so much more beneficial. So great segue, shameless plug. Next week or next month, we'll be talking about all about the Benjamins. And we'll be hitting on 4 points to the point of those that we're talking about finance, healthy habits with money, understanding money is a tool, learning to live debt-free. And we'll also be talking with some lenders to talk about how you'll get money for your small businesses and promoting those things that we do as small business owners. So good stuff, man. Real quick though, Nard, you mentioned marriage being more of 100-100 effort rather than that status quo 50-50 commitment. Now we've all heard that, right? But tell us more about what you meant by that. What was your thought process in speaking on that?
I mean, self-explanatory. Two individuals should, if you get into a marriage or relationship, you should be giving 100% of yourself and 100% effort towards the marriage or relationship. When you give 50-50, that means there's another 50% of you that you're kind of basically hoarding and keeping to yourself. And that 50% that you're keeping and holding to yourself may be the 50% that can get you over the hump with certain issues in your marriage or relationship. But I choose to believe that two individuals, if they are committed to one another, then they should be going full steam ahead and giving 100% effort to each other. 50-50, you know, if you go to a restaurant, you don't want 50% of your food because that's not what you paid for. You want everything that you paid for. So when you enter that relationship, you expect, I don't think anybody gets into a relationship expecting it to go bad or expecting it to end in divorce or, you know, just a bad breakup. Like we go into a relationship or marriage expecting it to work out. So the same expectation that you have when you go order food, like when I go through this drive-through, they're going to give me my entire order, because if they don't, what happens? If you go to McDonald's right now and get a 10-piece chicken nugget, I don't eat McDonald's, by the way, I just got to say that. But if you go to McDonald's and you only get 5 nuggets, the first thing you're going to do is turn around, or you're going to go back into the restaurant and say, hey, I don't have all of my food. And when it comes to a relationship, it should be no different. Like, you should be giving all of yourself to some other person.
Kier, did you want to touch on that? I saw your wheels turning.
No, I think he said no.
Boom, we could do 2 snaps.
2 snaps.
Okay, 2 snaps. So, Kier, most people have had their fair share of breakups, right? All of us can say that we've had some type of breakup in life, you know, when it comes to relationships. And one of the things we often hear with that is the fastest way to get over someone is to get under someone else. Now, Lacear, as a woman empowerment coach and someone that speaks to promoting healthy relationships amongst women, you know, what are your thoughts on that?
I did not even know that phrase still existed, honestly, until I seen it on like a commercial for a TV show or something like that. And I seen it maybe a month or so ago. And I was like, wow, that's really a thing. Like, people are still doing that. Like, you do not, me personally, I say no. I say that's not the way to go. And the reason why I say that is because you have to take time to heal. You have to take time to reflect. You have to take time to step back. After you get out of a relationship, you should spend a little bit of time by yourself. You shouldn't try to just cover that hurt or cover whatever it is that you may have went through with another person or with sex. Because one, you're not fully done. You haven't fully processed and reflected on what you just walked away from. You don't know if, did the relationship end because of you? Was it because of him? You know, was the treatment, how did he treat you? Was that okay? Like, you haven't taken time to really evaluate the last relationship. And so then you're taking all of that and jumping right into something else, because a lot of times and I can speak for me and I guess women, you know, when sex is involved, like emotions, I say you look at the situation through a filter, kind of like there's a filter that happens when sex is involved and emotions are involved. You're emotionally connecting yourself to this person, and God knows whatever they have going on as well. So when you don't take time to get over that last relationship, you're bringing all of that into this, but then also you're picking up whatever this person has going on as well. And so you could be just jumping back into that traumatic circle of bad relationship after bad relationship because you've never really taken the time to heal. And then also, I don't know, I just don't feel like your body count should go up every time you get out of a relationship. Like, that's one thing I say when dating. Like, dating is about collecting data about somebody, not bodies.
No, what you got, bro?
Man, I want to jump in because I am a recovering serial dater. It is what it is. My wife told me, she was like, you just used to like to date. But now thinking back on it, it goes back to that vulnerability piece for me. And this is just for me. You know, you get out of a bad relationship this is for me, my perspective. Got out of a bad relationship and it's like, I don't want to deal with the trauma. Or I don't want to deal with the feelings of being hurt. So the quickest thing for me to do is to go and find somebody to fill that void or somebody to help me. I didn't say help me, but, you know, to basically take my mind off of what I just went through. And so a lot of times people really don't want to face the music per se. And so we just go jumping from one thing to another and you really haven't healed. And then here it is, you with somebody else and your mind is, you know, reverting back to, well, dang, they don't do this like such and such. That's because you ain't over that last person, you know? So my 2 cents on that.
Well, I'm gonna get a few more cents from you. I'm trying to make it to $1, Jenard. So, you know, you and your wife, I think you mentioned you've been married for 5 years now, and we always hear about this hump, you know, whether it be 5 years, 3 years. Can you share with us 5 tips to do before marriage?
Yes, absolutely. I just posted this over on our Instagram, and these are just some 5 things. Some of the things that we did, and some of the things that if we could go back, you know, before we said I do, we would do a little bit differently. Number 1 kind of goes to what Lacear was saying. You need to become the best version of yourself before you say I do. And that was a great segue from what we just talked about. You don't want to go into a marriage or relationship with baggage, whether that baggage be from a previous relationship hurt or whatever. And then also you need to be the best version of yourself because yes, people can make you happy by doing different things, different acts, but you need to know what makes you happy. You need to know, like, hey, if I go to the movies by myself, I'm content. I don't need anybody to go to the movies and out to eat with me. So you need to know what you like, what your dislikes are. So that's become the best version of yourself. Number 2, I love talking about this. I'll harp on this on our show. Do not ignore the red flags. If you're dating somebody, you know, the red flags it may be something small, but it's something that you need to talk about, you know. And I love to say the red flags that we ignore end up becoming the red flags that, you know, are on the play. Like, hey, flag on the play. Like, you should have talked about that issue up front. So don't ignore the red flags. Know how to manage your money. When you get into a marriage or relationship, it's not just my money or my income. It's like, we got 2 incomes. We need to figure out how to manage money. You know, if you don't know how to manage money by yourself, then you're not going to know how to manage money with, you know, your spouse and significant other. Number 4, set your expectations up front. This goes back to knowing yourself. And when you know yourself, you know what your tolerance level is for certain things. And it goes back to communication. You need to set your expectations up front. No, I don't want you to do X, Y, and Z. And I'll go even a little bit further. A lot of times we get into relationships and it goes back to the assumer side. We assume our spouse or significant other knows how often we want them to cook, how often we're looking to have sex a week. And then you get into the marriage and relationship and it's like, I'm not trying to have sex 7 days a week. You should have told me that's what one of your expectations was up front, you know. Or it could be, you know, stuff that's minor stuff like I expect you to clean up the house 2 to 3 times a week. But whatever it is, set your expectations up front. And then number 5, I think this is probably one of the biggest challenges in marriages and relationship is learning how to adjust and compromise. And I know for me in my marriage, that's one of the things that I had a challenge with. It's like, I'm set in my ways. And you asking me to change how I do certain things. It's like, nah, bro, that ain't gonna fly. But those are 5 tips.
So let me ask you this then. How soon should you bring this up in a relationship? You know, obviously you might want to give it a little time before you get into those, things I need to know before we wed. But some of these you can't ignore. How fast do you go into any of these topics?
After the first fart.
Got it.
That was going back to what y'all. No, but when you see that this person and you have y'all are clicking and you can see potential and you see like, hey, I'm really serious about you. There's no point of waiting to ask the tough questions. The longer you wait to ask the tough questions, the longer you know something about that person. So I say as soon as you know, like, this is the one for me, start asking those tough questions.
Good stuff. Good stuff. If you're just checking in, we're having a good time tonight, man. Over here on the Bro Code Show, we're talking about all things relationship. We've got Lacear and Jenard. We're talking about farts and relationships and orgasms and being a suicide. I love that one. That was good. That was a nugget and a half right there. All that. So real quick to the crowd, I think Christina got a couple snaps. Andrea says, you haven't even taken time to evaluate the last relationships. I'm sure that was something that you were talking about, Jakir, as well as a word. We saw that. Kate, what's happening, Kate? Over there in Fuquay, Verena, North Carolina, red flags you ignore in the beginning become the reasons you leave in the end. Now, that's a word. That's two of them right there. Destiny. Destiny was crying. Christina probably about to fart. Yeah, I think that was the fart cry. And then, of course, Andrea. Shout out to everybody listening. Please like and share right now. Keep this ripple effect going, man, so everybody can hear this conversation. Kurt, what you got, bro?
So the serious questions for you. Recently on your Instagram, you shared that 1 is a whole number, and you have to be whole by yourself first. We always talk about someone. I've seen a lot of movies where they say you complete me, but we believe it should be a compliment, not a completion from another person. Because if they complete you, when they leave, what are we? We're not whole anymore. So can you elaborate a little bit more about what you meant by you have to, 1 is a whole number?
Yeah, I firmly believe that 1 is a whole number. So you have to be whole before you jump into a relationship. Well, I wouldn't say have to be before you jump into a relationship, but you should be on the way and you should be trying and working on getting to know yourself. So like Jenard said, like you should be comfortable with going out by yourself. You should be comfortable. You should be able to spend time by yourself and not feel lonely or that you need somebody, you need somebody there. So getting to know yourself is such a big deal, and it makes a difference when you before you get into a relationship. So when you get into a relationship with somebody, they should advance you. They should enhance you. They're not there to put together and piece together this person that you are working on becoming. Like, they should be able to come in, pick up where you are, and help take you to the next level. It shouldn't be the fact that, I need somebody in order to feel whole. No, that's not how it works. You should feel comfortable by yourself. And it goes back to getting to know yourself, getting to know, what do I like? Because I can speak for me. Before I really figured out who I was and what I wanted and all of this good stuff, like what I like depended on the person that I was dating, what I wanted to do, depending on that person. So then when that person left, I felt, like you said, bro, Kirk, like unwhole, incomplete. I didn't know where to go, who to hang out with. Your friends was my friends. Like, we went out where you wanted to go eat. So I don't even know where I want to go eat because I never picked the restaurant. So just small things like that, like making sure you figure out in any essence of like, who is Lacear, who is Kirk, who is Bro Smith, like, who are you? So then that way, when you get into a relationship, you're able to say, hey, this is Lacear, this is what I like. And then this person can pick up and help advance you and help enhance you. So like I said, they're not supposed to complete you. They're supposed to complement you. So that's the way I look at it.
That's a whole word right there. Please, hashtag trademark. If you haven't done the t-shirt just yet, please do such. We will help you with that. Lacear, I love it. No, did you want to
Yeah, I was just going to say, Lacear, if you see my Instagram next week, just know that I'm going to have that they should not complete you. They should compliment you. So I just want you to know that it's going to be on my Instagram next week. So,
and that is fine. That is fine.
One time for the crowd. Shout out to Kate Davis. Kate feels the same way here. Compliment, not completion, is fire. Barisha, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Barisha, but I'm sorry. This is good. And then Christina says, yes, compliment. So indeed. Oh, you laughing at me, Christina? I'm sorry.
No, that's yes, not yes.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Okay.
There you
I'll let you handle that one. So, nonetheless, man, Nard, you had an episode on the podcast, man. You and the wife were on there, and you shared a couple transparent moments of the top 8 mistakes you and your wife made or have made in marriage so far. Can you elaborate on the top 4?
Yeah. So top 4 were, number 1 was not having boundaries, and that's boundaries within our own relationship, external relationships. I know for me, I think like Bro Kirk said, he grew up in a single parent home. So the same thing for me. So just talking with my parents or talking with my mom about everything and my friends, so when I got married, it was like, I need to establish that level of boundary. Like there's certain things I can't talk with my parents about and my friends. So just having those boundaries, being honest with each other. And it's not necessarily just being honest, but being brutally honest with my wife. Things like, it goes back to that vulnerability, things that she did, things that I did that we kind of just suppressed and was like, okay, well, they should know that what they said hurt me. But just being brutally honest and being brutally upfront with each other, that was one of the mistakes that we made that we didn't do at the beginning. Not being emotionally mature, that was a huge mistake that we made. Was just, and I think we both kind of did it early on in the marriage, and we still, we're not perfect, so there's still challenges that we face. But when we get into those heated discussions, and it's just like we're acting out of emotions, not, based off of facts. This is just emotion driven right now. And number 5, not learning how to effectively disagree. I'm one that, in my mind, and y'all may agree, but in my mind, I'm never wrong. Everything I do is right, and I'm just having fun with it. But seriously, like, I would always try to get my point across and try to make my wife understand my point. And even when she would say, I agree to disagree, it's like, nah, well, you need to turn that disagree into agreement, because what I'm saying, you need to see my perspective. And that's still a challenge for me to this day. But we're something that we're working on. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had learned from a wise man, you could be right or you could be happy, and a happy wife equals a happy life.
So hold on now. I need to love too now. Happy house, happy spouse.
That's
we
a
gotta
good
go back to 50, 100, 100 now. I could dig that. I really can. Me and my wife will be celebrating 9 in July. But you hit on some big ones for me, man. Emotional maturity is a big one. I was called a 12-year-old the other day, and that hurt my feelings. I'm just gonna be honest, right? So anyway, man, I can dig that, man. It's something that we work on daily. But anything worthwhile is worth working for, right? So
yeah, that's right.
Indeed, man. Jay, I think we got enough. Oh, did you want to touch on that, Lacear?
No. I agree. No.
Kurt, I saw your wheels turning, bro.
You got one?
You got anything, Kurt?
He just got that pensive look going on.
No, listen, I was deep in thought, man. I'm enjoying boundaries, healthy boundaries, man. Healthy boundaries. And then not only healthy boundaries, setting them, but enforcing them with love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do have one more for Lacear if she's ready for it. And so in addition to dating relationships, you also share tips with women on how to navigate corporate relationships. You call it Corporate Bay Friday. I'm hoping you could tell us a little bit more about that. And how does that help the women you serve?
Yeah, so Corporate Bay Friday, I give quick 2-minute tips for women in corporate America, because of course everyone has their dream of owning, well, maybe not everyone, but a lot of women have a dream of owning their own business, but a lot of people still clock in and go to that 9 to 5 every day. And so working in corporate America is a little bit different than working for yourself. And I'm learning that as I do, I'm on my journey of trying to build my own business. And so one thing that I know is that there's a lot of mediocre, I'm just trying to get by, doing what is necessary and not going above and beyond in corporate America. Like I'm just trying to get it done, just the bare minimum. I see that a lot. And so there's a lot of people that are just trying to get by. And so what I do is I give tips around the mindset. A lot of things in this life, if you can get your mindset about the situation right, like you can conquer anything. I firmly believe that. And so a lot of things that I address on Corporate Bay Friday is just the mindset of how to look at when you're working your 9 to 5 and how to navigate those waters. Because a lot of times operating in excellence is how you get promoted. And so just doing a little bit more. So like one tip I shared was, excellence and promotion and increase ride on the wings of excellence. My mother-in-law taught me that, and that has stuck with me. And, so just giving a little bit more detail in the email, or picking up the phone and calling that person versus sending all the documents in the email with no instructions, just doing a little bit more sometimes can make the world of difference. And so I just address some of those mindset changes that we can tweak that can help take us to the next level.
I promise you.
It really helps the women because, some people want to get into leadership positions and so just anything that I can share, I want to do that.
Good stuff. I love it. I promise you, if I could do a cartwheel, I would. I know Kirk is having a good time because his favorite word came up, and that's mindset. We talk about that being the beginning of everything, right? It all starts with this 8-pound lump above your 2 shoulders. That's where the game is won or potentially even lost. So I really could dig that, man. If you didn't have a chance to hear this conversation, man, please, we look forward to you looking at the playback. If I could put a nice bow in this conversation, we heard a lot. One of the things that really stuck out to me was being the best version of yourself, and how working on that daily, which is a daily thing, helps that 50-50, that 100-100 that you talk about, Nard, right? Because you're right. If you only bring 50 to the table, you're still leaving something out. There's something missing, and you're trying to figure that out while you're together. And so taking the time beforehand to be more proactive than reactive will always be the barrier. Boundaries, Kurt, man, I'm sure we'll have a conversation about that later. First farts. Hey, man, some things are just epic. Vulnerability, communication being key, honesty, emotional maturity. That one said, man, that's it. Right, that's that right here. That sat on my shoulders. That was personal for me. And then mindset is everything. But what really got me was that last piece you spoke of, Jakir, in moving in a spirit of excellence. Oh man, that right there, man, that got me. So real quick, we definitely want to shout out the crowd real quick. I know the chat is blowing up, and Kim, what's happening, Kim? Love and Flow is in the building. What's happening, Kim? Kim says true. She spelled it wrong, so she did it again because she wanted to make sure that we knew what she was talking about. Going the extra mile. I could dig it. Mindset is everything. Be at your best. And 2 snaps. All that good stuff. I see you, Andrea. With that being said, Lacear, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're done for the night, man. I want you guys to follow our guest, the Lacear Duff. Follow her at SheWillNotFail_ on Instagram. And also good brother, PhD, smart brother, Jenard Moore over at A&T, right?
Yes, sir.
Follow him at More Love CXN. I'm curious though, man, what is that CXN about? What is there meaning to that?
More Love Connection. It's just an abbreviation for connection.
I was wondering. I didn't catch on.
Yeah.
I had a short bus moment. So for all of those listening, man, we appreciate you checking into the Bro Code, man. Join us next month as we talk all things money. The topic for next month will be all about the Benjamins, baby. And the guest for this month of March will focus on how to live debt-free, how to use money as a tool, healthy money habits. And we'll also talk to some lenders, man. So for our small businesses out there that are looking for lending opportunities, we're going to have some CEOs in the building that maybe can potentially help you with that. Next week, for the Bro Code show, we do the rehash, right? For the rehash, we'll have a couple special guests. Special guests next month for the rehash show will be good brothers Justin Minot, Minna, and Rashard Bellamy. They'll help us chew on that conversation. Justin is from Provident 1898, and Rashid Bellamy is CEO of C-Suite Executive Solutions. So that'll be next week live on our Facebook page, YM4C, or our YouTube channel, YM4C TV. Well, we always appreciate our bros for another dope night. To our guests, we always appreciate you coming to hang out, man. We love you like cooked food. We always want to leave you guys. And for all those that are listening and shout it out, please hit the replay button right now. Continue to make this ripple effect go. But we love to leave you with a little positivity. So we're going to do that tonight with a special quote. And it says, remember, you alone get to choose what matters and what doesn't. The meaning of everything in your life has precisely the meaning you give it. It's your boy, Bro Troy, a.k.a. Mr. YM4C, and we are the Bro Code.